astrological forecast for December 2025 for representatives of the sign of Sagittarius. December 2025 for you is a very strong time. 5 planets this month will visit your sign, leaving their gifts behind. Yes, a stellium, a cluster of planets in one sign in your sign. This forms an energetic overload, and at times it may seem to you that absolutely everything is on your shoulders. And despite the fact that you will be perfectly coping with all this, there may be people who do not appreciate it and even who criticize. Therefore, when doing something, understand why it is important precisely for you. You cannot forget about yourself this month in any way, because this is your time, since the sun for most of the month will be in your sign. Moreover, in December, a new moon occurs in your sign, and this is your personal new year. This is a time when it is worth making at least a small pause in this race called life and allowing yourself to spend at least one evening exactly as you want it. And also, a new moon in your own sign is a time when we want to rise a little above others, to make different accents in that image of ourselves that we demonstrate to the outside world. The events and decisions of December create a foundation, a global foundation for that plot in your destiny that will begin to unfold a little later, or more precisely in 3.5 years. Not literally, but so to speak, in essence. And it is especially worth being attentive to events or unexpected thoughts, unexpected internal decisions that may take place around December 5th. Until the middle of December, the fiery Mars continues its transit through your sign, and this may simply not give you rest, and in a good sense of the word. Mars in our own sign makes us hyperactive when we do not reflect, but act. Yes, this increases our sharpness in communication, increases our maximalism and our categoricalness. That is precisely why some roughness in communications may occur. A rare astrological event, which happens only once every 9 years, occurs this month, or more precisely begins to occur precisely in your sign. The black moon Lilith this month moves into your sign, into the first house of your horoscope, where it will linger for 9 months. The last time the black moon visited your sign was in 2017, or more precisely in the period from February 14th to November 9th, 2017. It creates, so to speak, unusual opportunities for self-realization and will help you fill your life with what you previously could not decide on. The full moon of December occurs in the sector of your partnership relations, bringing clarity to these issues. Here, an important meeting, conversation, or long-awaited event in the affairs of your partners, or in affairs that are related precisely to your relationships may take place. In the second half of December, many planets begin to move into your financial sector, and this will positively influence the state of your financial affairs and current affairs. But also, plots related to obtaining, attracting money for the future will appear here. However, this will also increase the number of your expense items. And the very end of December will please us with a favorable aspect between the planet Mars and the karmic lunar nodes. This will give you self-confidence. This will give you optimism and understanding that you actually have enough strength and resources to embody your plans in reality. Let's discuss in more detail the most important astrological events of the month and their influence on your sign step by step. On December 4th, a full moon occurs in the sign of Gemini in your 7th house of the horoscope. The full moon always completes some processes, plots, gives clarity, and the 7th house for you is the sector of partnership relations. Therefore, this full moon will bring some completion, clarity, certainty, for example, the completion of some topic that you actively discussed with your partners. And this can relate both to a partner in personal life and to your friends and partners in business activities. This time can bring the completion of work, such preparatory work on some plan or the completion of work cooperation with a certain client. This time can bring some specific event, for example, the conclusion of a contract, the conclusion of a deal, or the execution of, for instance, a power of attorney with a notary. Also, this day will give you clarity in the relationships themselves. You will understand with whom you are further on the path and with whom you are not. Important events in the affairs of your partners themselves may also occur here. December 5th is an important day for your sign. On this day, the sun will be located exactly between the karmic lunar nodes. This is such a peculiar midpoint between events or decisions that took place in your affairs around September 10th of this year, and events that will take place around February 27th, 2026. This is a truly important day for your sign because the sun is now precisely in the first house of your horoscope. And whatever the question concerns throughout this day, it is important here to make sole decisions. Yes, you can consult, discuss, you can talk to someone, but it is important to make a decision that does not contradict your internal feelings. And all this may not seem so significant at this minute. But in fact, the events, decisions, and even the mood of this day, all this creates a bookmark, a foundation for a plot that will begin to unfold in 3.5 years. And the matter can concern both family issues related to your place of residence, your property, and issues that have to do with your career. December 6th and 7th will please us with a favorable aspect, an aspect of luck between the planet Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. This aspect will affect your 4th, 8th, and 12th astro fields, and here you can expect luck in some long-standing matter. For example, on this day you may receive a payment for work you have already completed. You may also receive passive income. On this day, a deal may take place or some event or meeting that you have long been expecting may occur. These are successful days for solving any issues, especially those related to money and property. On December 9th, the planet Mars, the source of strength, energy, and actions, will be in a tense aspect in relation to the planet Saturn, which will affect your 1st and 4th astro fields. This is a tense day that requires super efforts, requires the manifestation of will and persistence. On this day, you may encounter something that counteracts the realization of your plans, especially from older people. On December 11th, the planet Venus, the source of joy and earthly blessings, will be located exactly between the karmic lunar nodes, which in your horoscope will affect the 1st, 4th, and 10th astro fields. This is an important such control or indicative day. This day is such a testing one. A test of how conveniently your own time, the time of day, is distributed for you. Is there any imbalance here? Everything only into work or everything only into family? Are you not forgetting about yourselves in the process? And by the events of this day, by its mood, by its aftertaste, by your state on this day, one can judge how much the external image of your life corresponds to your internal state. Is there harmony, a correspondence between your social status, your external lifestyle, and your personal life, your private life? In this case, private life here does not mean relationships with a partner of a love nature. It means everything that is hidden from the general public. It means that part of our life that is not for show. On December 12th, the planet Mercury moves into your sign. Mercury is thoughts, words, it is logic, memory. And Mercury on this day leaves your 12th house of the horoscope, the house of the past. And thoughts about the past will become significantly less. You will more actively begin to live with thoughts in the present moment. Here, those ideas, plans, or projects that were already present in your affairs or thoughts in the period from October 29th to November 19th of this year may return. On December 14th, the planet Mars will be in a tense aspect in a square in relation to the planet Neptune, which will affect your 1st and 4th astro fields. This is a day of such illogical events. This is a tense, confusing, and reality-blurring aspect. Some matter or situation may seem confusing and somehow endless, like a bottomless well. And the more we work on it, the more confusing the situation becomes. Yes, on this day it is better not to plan the solution of some important issues, especially those that require clarity and rationality. On December 15th, the planet Mars, the source of strength, energy, and actions, moves into the space of the sign Capricorn. Mars leaves your sign and moves into the financial sector of your life. It is here, in the coming month, that the greatest activity will be. This symbolizes an active financial life, a struggle for results, and a lot of work for the future. In the period from December 17th to 21st, the Sun will be in tense aspects in relation to the planets Saturn and Neptune. And for all zodiac signs, this is the time for summing up the results of the year. Moreover, given the tense aspects of the Sun, this internal self-audit of one's life and one's achievements for the year will be very harsh and critical. We will see the consequences of those actions or decisions of ours in which we did not take into account certain factors, or in which we did not show the proper level of responsibility. And considering that these aspects will affect your first and fourth astro fields, here you will understand that the majority of your main life resource, your time, goes precisely to domestic and family affairs, or those related to your place of residence and your real estate. This is a time when you will understand that you actually strive for reliability and a feeling of support. But the people around you do not give you a full sense of constancy and a feeling that you can rely on them and lean on them, that it is you who most often become a support for other people. On December 20th, the Black Moon Lilith, the projection of the demon tempter in our horoscope changes sign, and for 9 months, until September 14th, 2026, moves into the space of your zodiac sign. The Black Moon is a rare guest here. It is here only once every 9 years, and the last time the Black Moon visited your sign was in 2017. This is generally good news for you, since on this day the Black Moon leaves your 12th house of the horoscope, and the 9-month period ends when it, figuratively speaking, rummaged through your skeletons in the closet. And now it will help you decide on many things. Remember what you decided on in 2017. How exactly did you change your life? The Black Moon in your sign. It will help you make decisions that will create a new image of yourselves. And on the same day, December 20th, a very important event for you occurs. This is the new moon in your sign. This is practically your personal new year, a time of reboot, a time of settings for the next annual cycle. On this very day, you may feel some decrease in general tone. This is necessary so that on this day you make at least a small pause to think about yourself, about what you want precisely for yourself. This day gives you new settings. More precisely, you create new settings on this day for a whole year ahead. A new moon in one's own sign brings us new desires, new needs. We suddenly begin to want something very much. And as a rule, it is something connected with such fundamental spheres of our life, and also with how we look, what image of ourselves we demonstrate to the outside world. We want to change something in our image, make new accents, buy something for ourselves, change something in our style or in our usual model of actions. On December 21st at 15:30 Greenwich Mean Time, the sun moves into the sign Capricorn. This is an important day, one of the 4 control points of the year. This is the day of the winter solstice. It is the birthday of the new sun and the day when, from an astronomical point of view, winter begins in the northern hemisphere. On this day, we, figuratively speaking, sow those seeds that, sprouting, will give us the energy impulse for the realization of our plans in 2026. Therefore, on this day too, it is worth concentrating on your goals and tasks that you intend to realize in the next year. In the period from December 20th to 24th, the planet Venus, which is the source of joy and earthly blessings, our enjoyments of the earthly world, Venus will be in tense aspects in relation to the planets Saturn and Neptune. The last time such an aspect of Venus was at the end of November and beginning of December 2024. This can form in you such a mood that you are doing a lot, but at the same time you cannot please everyone and not everyone will like it. And there are people who criticize you, who do not appreciate what you do for them. On these days, there may be additional expenses that are primarily related to domestic and family affairs. Also, on these days, such a thought may form that I am doing everything possible for these people, but where is the gratitude? That is, it may seem that you are carrying everything on your shoulders, organizing everything, controlling everything, but at the same time, not everyone notices this and not everyone appreciates it. Therefore, try not to concentrate, not to get stuck on such thoughts these days. Try to do something pleasant and useful for yourselves. And on December 24th, the planet Venus moves into your financial sector of the horoscope, where it will remain until January 19th. This improves the indicators of your financial sector of life. This can happen in the form of a bonus, gifts, a premium, in the form of an increase in your salary level. This also shows the birth of many material desires, that is, related to the acquisition of some practical and useful things. On December 30th, the planet Mercury will be in a tense aspect in a square in relation to the planet Saturn, which will affect your first and fourth astro fields. This is the final tense aspect of the year. Here there may be some disputes, claims. You may feel constrained in your words and decisions. Or here there may be a necessity to talk with those people with whom you do not have the best relations. And on December 31st, the final day of the year, will gift us with an aspect of luck between the planet Mars and the karmic lunar nodes. This repeatedly enhances the influence of our kind words, intentions, and wishes, both for ourselves and for people close to us. Therefore, on this day, do not skimp on kind words. Again, both towards yourself and towards the circle of people whom you usually congratulate on the holidays. And considering that this aspect in your horoscope will affect the 2nd, 4th, and 10th astro fields, then wish yourself on this day growth on the career ladder, growth of your financial well-being, and also growth of the general standard of living of your family. That is what December 2025 will be like from an astrological point of view. And I wish you a wonderful, successful month, dear Sagittarians.